The Recap Show is proud to be partnered with Intuit QuickBooks to tell the stories of athletes and their growth as small business owners. Today, we will be joined by Leslie Osborne. Tobin, tell us about Leslie.
U.S. Women's National Team legend, co-founder of Bay FC, and co-host of the new podcast show, Redefined.
She's a lot of coast like us.
She's a lot of coast.
Let's bring her in.
Welcome, Leslie Osborne.
Welcome to the show.
Thanks, guys. Thank you for
Gals are all
having me.
here. So this idea of history, and we actually just spoke about like why history is so important and how we need to do a better job with our history, our sports history, in particular, our soccer history, our football history, because we played in the dark ages of women's sports of not to date ourselves. We're talking about like 10 years ago, people.
Thanks.
Like where like you guys.
I'm so cool and young and hip, okay? It wasn't that long ago.
Dark ages. I told you that was you're being a little bit harsh.
No, I understand.
Like the
before
dark
social
ages,
media, before the
social media,
yeah.
before. Do you remember with national team? People are going to be like, "What?" Like there were times that with the national team, we didn't have every game on TV.
No.
It would be like
Portugal?
I remember asking,
Algarve?
like,
Exactly what I was
Yeah,
thinking.
yeah.
Algarve.
I remember
Yeah.
asking
We couldn't even
Heath-
watch film.
No.
Yeah.
And there were 30 people in the stands.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Yeah, I remember asking Heath, being like, "Oh, is this a TV game?" You know, like,
Yeah.
should I
It's a
tell
big deal.
my parents
Yeah.
if this
Yeah.
one's going to be on TV?
No.
You know, and now that's like that sounds like insane to
know.
think like, oh, there was a time when like the national team, you wouldn't be able to watch them play.
Yep.
And like even with our league, and you mentioned social media,
Yeah.
that completely changed the landscape of women's
Everything.
sports because all of a sudden you had direct access to your fans. You weren't at the kind of whims of traditional media being able to market you to your fans.
Yeah.
You could actually just go straight to your fans and they could know who you were and what you were all about without this big like article in the good old newspaper, you know?
Yeah, no, and it's such an interesting concept because, you know, we're in this transition, this passing of the torch to the next generation. And I'm a little bit sitting in the middle of it.
You're a tweener.
And- exactly. I'm a tweener and of the dark ages and the light ages, I guess. But they don't know
Yeah.
like how we got here.
Yeah.
And so, you know, we just wanted to have the opportunity to share who you were.
Oh.
Yeah.
And we want everyone watching this show to know who you are. You're obviously an incredible player with an incredible career.
Thank you.
And, you know, we had the luxury of playing with you and seeing you and watching you. But those who didn't, how would you like them to remember you as a player?
Ooh. Well, let me throw it back to you both. How would you describe me as a player?
Oh my
I
gosh.
know.
You go first.
So gritty and hardworking, slide tackles,
I couldn't help
and
it.
a really strong cut. You
Yeah.
would cut.
Oh,
Your cut
yeah.
got people on skates every
You knew
time.
it was coming,
You
but
knew,
yeah.
you knew she was going to
Yeah.
do it, and it still worked.
I know.
Fearless,
Mm.
Wow,
Yeah.
for sure.
good
Aw.
one.
Yeah, I
And
would.
a team player, like the ultimate team player.
Thank you. I think that probably means the most. As a player, I feel like you always knew what you were going to get out of me. I was going to give you 100% every time I stepped out on that field, no matter what we did. My work ethic was something that I go back to, like my blue collar, like root from Wisconsin. Like that was just ingrained in me, and I was passionate, and I gave everything I had. And I think I was good in the air. I was a good slide tackler. I was good on the ball. And I think I was versatile. And that's why I loved playing so much. And I had so many experiences, and why I probably fit into different teams is because I could play multiple positions. But the most important thing is the way that I hopefully made people feel as a teammate, but also why people wanted me to be their teammate is I was a winner, and I was competitive, and I was going to give you everything I had. And I don't know, I think that that's just part of who I am no matter what I'm doing. But yeah, those football days were the best days. I wish I would have enjoyed it more in the moment if I could go back.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's crazy because I was actually recently in the UK, and I, of course, was jet lagged. I was up really late, and I turned on Sky that was like retro Premier League games. And I was like, oh, what an amazing thing to fall asleep to. Retro Premier League.
Yeah.
And I'm watching all these old school players that I just loved. And the game looks different, but you like love it. The players are playing a little bit different. The style's different. Like their shorts and their jerseys are like, and this is what got me really thinking about this. And I was thinking like for your girls, like we always talk about how did we actually have those memories as young people? Or did we just see the pictures? Did we just hear the stories about ourselves? And therefore we were like, oh, that's what I remember about my childhood.
Yeah.
And that's why I believe that history is so important. So when we shout out like you and your history, like because for your girls and for all football players that came after you, everyone should know who you are because we should have the stories. We should have the pictures. And those should be replayed over and over again. And that's sports. That's how you get history. And that's how when you turn on a game, you're like, oh my gosh, I remember that play because, you know, my mom told me about that play. Or like, I actually like can see how my mom was when she was a player because I have all these people that come up to me and they tell me, you know, because they watched it or they're rewatching it, you know, and like, I just want to take a moment to actually say like, who you are as a player so that everyone that's listening to the recap show knows Leslie Osborne and actually goes and tells their daughter or their son about Leslie Osborne, and they can continue to pass down that history of an amazing player, you know, that doesn't like a lot of us don't have that, you know, the games that were on TV, the social media numbers, like, and this is important to our sport and actually to the future of our sport is for people to know who you are.
Well, listen up because I'll be tested later.
Leslie Osborne.
Oh, you're actually really...
I'm doing it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Wisconsin native, which for all you Wisconsin people, that means something.
Yeah.
You know, that's
you
like
saying?
kind of like pounding the chest, like, yeah, that's my girl.
How do you know?
Yeah. It means something. When you say you're from Wisconsin, like it means something.
You say it really hard.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of Wisconsinites.
When you say hard working, I don't think any player could come out of Wisconsin and not be a hard-working player.
True.
Santa Clara,
Yes.
national champion.
Yes.
Was that the first national championship in
Yes.
Santa Clara history?
My freshman year.
It's incredible.
And Allie and Danielle, my co-founders for Bay FC, were my captains.
Wow.
I know. And Brandy was a volunteer coach.
We will get back to that.
Yeah.
But that is really. Okay, club career. FC Gold Pride, WPS.
Yes.
Did you win a championship there too?
No.
Boston Breakers, WPS.
Yes.
Which iconic franchise, by the way. The
Yeah.
Boston Breakers were the OGs of
They were.
OGs.
They were.
And great players that played for Boston.
Yeah.
Chicago Red Stars, NWSL.
Yeah. 2 weeks. Mm-hmm.
2 weeks.
No, 2 leagues.
2 weeks.
Oh, I was like,
You're like, 2 weeks?
You 2 weeks? I don't remember that part of the history.
No, yeah, that would happen in the early days.
that one out.
In the early days of NWSL, 2 weeks.
2 week long season. That's all we could afford.
Yeah, that's all of it. Oh.
Okay, U.S. Women's National Team, 61 caps.
Yeah.
Part of the 2007 World Cup team.
Yeah.
What would you say which is extraordinary, by the way, like total gal. What would you say was the highlight of your career when you look back on it and you're kind of replaying a moment that you're most proud of in your playing career? Is there something that comes back? Is there a flashback? Is there a moment?
Yeah. The U-19 World Cup. Playing with still my closest friends.
Gonna write that down.
Yeah. In Canada, Edmonton, we played in front of 60,000 people, and about 59,000 people were cheering for Canada, but we were all red and white, and we just told ourselves they were cheering for us.
Oh my gosh.
And it was against Christine Sinclair and a lot of the Canadians that, just hung out their boots. And I think I was a freshman and sophomore in college, and I think that moment to represent my country, to play in front of 60,000 people at that age, really was a life-changing experience for me.
Yeah.
I think that's what helped propel me into becoming the person, leader, and player I was. And it was with my closest friends, and a lot of those teammates are still close friends of mine today. And I think that if we can put younger women in those situations to play in front of that kind of crowd with that sort of pressure to represent your country, there was nothing more special to me. And when I look back at my career and I tell my girls about my playing days, like, that was where it all started for me. And I think that helped just propel everything else to come that I didn't know was coming.